Hello everyone and welcome back to the BIA racing series where we are at the 7th race of 12 where we now kick off the second half of the season. This track is the shortest on the calendar, coming in at just 1 kilometer in length with an elevation change of 26 meters located on Spearleaf Island on the west coast of the United States of America. It is regarded to be one of the safest tracks on the calendar due to its short length, wide space, smooth surfaces and limited amount of trackside obstacles, alongside the fact you would always be in relatively close proximity to the pits. But this doesn't mean this track is without potential incidents. This race will be taking at 12 PM midday at 25 degrees Celsius as per usual for this area. All drivers managed to qualify this race. Chase put in a time not too far off from his competitors, starting 5th with a time of 36.420 seconds. Brock starts in 4th and Blaze in 3rd, with Brock having put in a time of 34.708 seconds, and Will Rock Racing has finally sourced new parts and car upgrades for Brock, so he may be properly competitive in this race and the races moving forward, so we'll have to pay attention to Brock's potential newfound performance. Blazen's time was 34.312 seconds. This is the first time since No Day Line that Blazen has out-qualified his teammate, but they're disappointed with their times on this track, not feeling like it suits their car or skill set. Customized starts in 2nd with a time of 34.089 seconds, and Polly is back on pole for the 4th time after putting in a very fast lap of 33.404 seconds. The West Coast is his home region. Now can he reach a 100% win rate on all his tracks this calendar? We'll have to see. Let's begin. Here we are in Tyrannos, a rather strange starting area with the back 3 starting on an incline and the first corner being so close to the starting line. It'll be interesting to see how the drivers deal with it. The main fight when it comes to the standings this race will be between Blazin and Customized. Blazin is currently ahead of Customized by just a single point, but this track has notably been better for PB Tech and Polygonal Racing than it has been for Will Rock. We're about to start. Smoke is coming from Blazin's car. Is there a problem? My clutch is overheating! What the? This race has just started. Blazer was able to hold off Brock through turn 1 there, but reportedly has issues with his clutch. The drivers begin their descent down to the seaside close together, but no immediate overtakes have been pulled off. High clutch temperature? What are you saying? Chaos off the bat for Will Rock. The drivers are heading through traffic lights now. Jace on the curb a bit there as they head down highway straight and soon up to the tunnel. Polly gets so close to the curb there. Okay guys, I'm actually going to box this lap because I don't want to risk this. Blazin is going to be boxing already due to the worry about the clutch. He wants it fixed. Will Rock Racing time after time continues to have such strange mechanical failures and issues. Jace now 4th after passing Blazin in the pits, coming down the traffic lights now, and it seems to be too fast. He's hit the guardrail at a nasty speed and angle there. He's up onto the curb. He's lost the wheel. This is absolutely disastrous for Jace. The race has only just started. Blazin now about to pass by to move up into 4th place, dropping Jace back down to 5th. Despite the loss of his front right wheel, Jace is pushing it down the highway straight. The pits are just up the hill. It's going to be a struggle to climb that though. It could be very likely that he is left by most of the grid here. He's up onto the curb a bit. It's looking rough. Jace entering the tunnel now, about to be lapped by multiple drivers. There goes Polly. Customized will be on the way in just a moment. There he is. And Brock, who isn't too far behind either, will be able to lap Jace. It seems that eventually Blazin, still approaching the turnoff, will be approaching fast enough to lap Jace as well, as he's now climbing up through the tunnel and up to the start line. He's about to pass Jace, and he has indeed lapped him, but Jace still continues to climb. Jace is just outside of the pits now, lapped by Polly a second time. Customized coming now, barely squeezes by on the right. Jace's strength positioning here seems to be confusing the drivers, and oh my goodness, Brock has ended up in the pits trying to dodge Jace and has unintentionally made a mandatory stop.
Well, I've had my mandatory pit.
Blazin now coming by to lap Jace as well. Jace has now been lapped twice by the entire grid, and at the very top of the hill, just outside the pits, it seems his car has given up on him and simply will not move where he wants it to. It's the same for Jace to be out of the race this early on. This track definitely doesn't suit his skill set, as he has not been afraid to down torque it, primarily over its length.
I hate this. I'm not having fun on this track. I'm glad it's over.
We get a replay of the situation, so Jay simply coming in at an awkward angle and speed, understeered into the guardrail, making initial impact right where his front right wheel was, which as we know damaged and loosened it enough for it to fall off as he went up onto the nearby curbs afterwards. This track may be considered to be the safest on the calendar, but no matter the track, a car isn't going to like it when its steering assembly is smacked right into a wall or guardrail. We also have the replay of the pit scandal here where Jace for some reason chose to climb the hill still on the racing line instead of staying out of it on the left side of the track instead. It clearly led to the drivers not really knowing what to do. Paulie slowed down and went around. Jace suddenly turns in to enter the pits, and Customize, about to come through, sees this and has to make a split-second decision to go around on the right instead, which almost results in a collision. Brock tries to do what Paulie did, but also confused on what Jace was trying to do, ended up going off the curb and into the pits instead. Women Racing has been claiming that Jace's controversial line into the pits was due to steering damage and a loss of speed climbing the hill, and thus he was unable to stick to the left. This is not the first time Jace has approached pits controversially. He almost caused a crash with Blazin on Utah over a similar situation. This all resulted in Jace's first ever 5th place finish result. It's time to continue on Tyrannos after a restart just in the first 5 minutes. Customize and Paulie will likely be fiercely fighting once again, and Blazin will have to fight hard starting in the back now in 4th place. We're about to go, and the engines roar to life again on Tyrannos. Customize right on the inside of Paulie. Brock holding off Blazin. Paulie and Customize side by side as they descend down the hill. Paulie just centimeters away from that guardrail. It's a tough fight off the bat for 1st place as they head down traffic lights. Contact between Customize and Paulie. Now contact between Brock and Customize as well as they now head through the traffic lights. Customize trying to go around the outside on the highway straight, looking for a gap here as they head into intersection, but Paulie cuts it off and Customize shuts the door on Brock as they head up to the tunnel and into the next lap. What an incredible lap of closely knit fighting. There's surely more to come as well as we continue on this track.
No time to breathe, Customize is too quick.
Here we have the replay. So to begin with, Brock and Blazin getting really close there in the first corner, and as we see here, Paulie actually barely made contact with the guardrail as he was trying to get the most space possible for a fast run through the following corners. Afterwards, just a tiny bit of early braking led to Customize accidentally tapping the right side of his rear, and as he moves up the inside, larger contact is made by Brock with a nasty tap there, which damaged his bumper. Customize and Paulie were just so close coming out of traffic lights here, and after Paulie closes up the gap, Customize does the same to prevent Brock from gaining any advantage of the situation. Paulie and Customize are pulled ahead with a small gap opening between the both of them, but the Willrock teammates are glued together and actively battling. Blazin going for a move here up into the tunnel, but it seems Brock has been able to hold that one off, and Paulie has just set a new fastest lap, the first sub 34-second time of the race, faster than all qualifying times except his own. The Willrock teammates fighting as they head down to traffic lights. Blazin rapidly moving in. Brock moves out wide and there's contact. Luckily, there doesn't seem to be any damage. Brock able to stay just ahead.
That was a close one.
We get a quick replay of the incident here. So Brock suddenly moves out wide to defend against Blazin coming around the outside, but he accidentally moves over too far and hits Blazin, where Blazin then narrowly avoids the end of the guardrail there. And from that, you can tell why Blazin was so frightened. Any further to the right, and that would have been his race over and a disaster for Willrock. The battle between the Willrock teammates has been raging for multiple laps. Now they're heading through the tunnel. Blazin looking up the inside to maybe pressure Brock into a mistake, and it seems to have worked, but Brock has recovered the slide, and due to Blazin cautiously backing off to avoid a collision, it's put him further back than before, and his plan here has backfired. It's very close between these two, and it really shows how close their skill levels are and why they were selected to be teammates together. The Willrock teammates fighting closely up into the tunnel once again. They're absolutely glued to each other, and it's another massive slide for Brock. He is a millimeters from those curbs, and he's managed to recover it once again. How he avoided those curbs, I have no idea, and despite that situation, he still managed to hold off the position.
Oh my god, bro. Bad heart attack.
Here we have the replay because I think everyone wants to see exactly how close Brock got there. The Willrock cars have notoriously had trouble with this part of the track, with Blazin sliding out here multiple times in practice, and now Brock suffering with it in the race as well. My goodness, his wheel was so close to touching that second curb. Any closer and that wheel could have been heavily damaged, or worse, come right off. Here's our last angle, and that bumper is truly just millimeters away, and it seemed to just slightly touch the second curb. Brock was incredibly close to his disaster through there. Brock and Blazin coming down towards traffic lights now, and that's a nasty guardrail strike for Brock. Just went out a bit wide there, but luckily it seems the only damage was the loss of his left side view mirror. Either way, it definitely wouldn't have done him any favors with the front of his car already being slightly beat up. Paulie is pulled away in a very track dominant fashion. We've seen no mistakes from him thus far, and he is about 4 seconds ahead of Customize, but the braking is too late for the intersection, and he's had to use that runoff there to go around the traffic island. That's good news for Customize, where hopefully some time will be gained. Not much has changed for these two. They continue to battle lap after lap, which is of course hurting Lurok's gains on the top two of this race. They head in an intersection now. Brock going wide and deciding to do a little bit of mountain climbing there, but he's back on the track with his bumper having come off quite cleanly. This massive mistake now sees Blazin move up into third. As we see now, Blazin is quite a ways ahead of his teammate. If he wants any chance at catching up to the top two, Blazin will have to start pushing ASAP. And my goodness, Brock has gone and done the same thing again at the intersection. Me personally, it's not the line I would keep taking.
I've done it again.
I would say fifth, Brock. I would say fifth.
Hell no.
Brock, please finish the race.
Mate, I'm winning this race, alright? Don't test me.
Brock clearly feeling very enthusiastic about this race despite the odds. After some of the previous races that were rough on him, it's great to see this level of motivation. Blazin has quite the catch-up job to do to be competitive. He's coming up to the gas station now, and the swerves have caught him out into a big slide. He struck the curb, he spun out, and it seems that his rear left wheel has come off. Oh no! I have a broken axle, broken rear axle, broken rear axle. Oh. Brock reclaims third place. Blazin is struggling to control the car with just 3 wheels.
Boxing for mandatory.
Box.
Polly and Customize are using the opportunity to cover their mandatory stops one after the other. It has gone from 0 to 100 in a matter of moments, 50 minutes into this race, and has been a complete disaster for Warrock Racing with crashes, slides, scrapes, and mechanical failures. Blazin is at a serious risk of being lapped here. It just depends on how well he can control a 3-wheeled car, and he's spun out at the intersection. Can he avoid the same fate as Jace? He's corrected it and pushing on through the tunnel now and up to the pits. Polly and Customize have to be getting close at this point.
Polly's coming up behind you.
Yep. And indeed there he is. Customize likely not too far off either as Blazin now approaches the pits. Unboxing. And he couldn't escape it. Polly has lapped Blazin as he gets urgent repairs in the pits. It might be close between Blazin and Customize here, but are coming through a rapid pace. Customize laps Blazin as well. This is a major blow to any chance of a high finishing position this race for Blazin. But what is miraculous is that he was able to survive that entire predicament in the first place.
Oh, lucky.
We've done it! You know it's a rough race when the driver is celebrating a successful pit repair like it's a win. We get the replay of what happened here, as it was surprising to see Blazin's wheel come off so easily, but as you can see, coming in at a head-on angle, Blazin's wheel makes a direct strike with the curb, which immediately breaks it off. As we said before, the swerves up here seemingly haven't suited the Willrock setup, and particularly, it's had a bad effect on Blazin, and it's seriously come back to bite him here in the race itself. Customize driving with one hand on the wheel at the moment, feeling very confident despite the loss of pace on Polly over the last few laps as he approaches the intersection now, but perhaps overconfident as he's missed the turnoff just like Polly a few laps prior. Brock coming up to the tunnel now, and he's hit his bumper that he left behind many laps ago when he went mountain climbing, maybe trying to reattach the bumper there, but I don't think that's how it works. Brock still in third place, not finding the pace on Customize, but Blazin is beginning to gain a bit of time on Brock now as he heads up to the tunnel, and well, he's gone for an adventure on the hill for the 3rd time now. He's really testing his luck here, and this time it seems to have cracked up his windshield.
Oopsie.
Polly is catching up to Brock and might lap him on pure pace alone, and whoa, Brock very close to the guardrail there. The situation might be throwing him off.
No, get away from me! Ah! Oh my god!
Brock, just calm down. If he comes up behind you, don't try and fight it.
I'm gonna fight everything, mate. All or nothing.
We are just getting word now that there's a pit controversy taking place. Apparently somehow Polly's fuel setup and readings have been leaked to Brock.
Brock, I'm just looking at like I just gotta go between both you. Polly does have more belly.
We will bring updates as the situation develops, but for now it is most confusing as fuel setups of other teams should only become known to them after a race has taken place, not during or before. Brock has got Polly on his tail. Polly will be trying to lap Brock very soon, and Brock has made it very clear he is going to make Polly fight for it. How long can they keep the fight going? And Brock striking the guardrail there, not the time to be making these mistakes.
Brock, the guy behind you,
Shut up, let me drive!
While all that was going on, Customize has started putting in his all to catch up to Polly, who now has to fight Brock. Due to this, Customize getting absurdly close to the curb there, and very slightly grazes the guardrail there as well. He needs to be careful not to push too hard. The time has come for the battle between Brock and Polly, where a lap status is on the line. Brock goes out wide, Polly coming up the inside, a small bounce from dipping into the inside there. Will Polly have a good inside run here? And he does. He's going along the outside of Brock as they head to the traffic lights, but Polly suddenly sets up the inside, and there's nearly contact as Brock is caught off guard. They're headed onto the highway straight. They're getting so close to each other. Polly has the inside as they head to the intersection, and Polly gets this overtake done. That was absolutely incredible positioning and mind games from Polly on Brock, and lovely clean racing from Brock there, and it all went off without a hitch. Brock is now a lap down on the race leader.
That was a beautiful overtake, by the way, Polly. Holy crap. Polly, I've always believed in you from the start. I never once leaked any documents or anything.
Shut your mouth.
Polly very clearly not happy with the fact that his team somehow seemingly leaked his setup documents to Wheel Rock Racing. Polygonal Racing has had a perfectly clean track record up until now, where the team find themselves in hot water over this scandal. Customize hasn't seen that much action this race. He comes through the intersection now, and he's slightly at the curb there. Hopefully that has no effect on his handling. Now it is Customize's turn to lap Brock. Brock on two wheels at the traffic lights.
Hold on, I gotta scratch my armpit on the straight.
And Customize shoots past Brock this time. He didn't want to fight being lapped, seemingly for quite the odd reason. We're over the halfway point of this race. Paulie is catching up to Blazin and lapping for the second time, and this one will be on pure pace. Blazin coming down traffic lights with a massive slide that he's managed to recover. Only his rear seemed to just slightly tap the guardrail with luckily no damage. This will be making it even easier for Paulie to catch up.
I see Blazin.
Brock has been losing a lot of time to Blazin, who is gradually catching up, often by half a second up to a whole second each lap. He slightly grazes the guardrail there, but anyways, we've specifically been hearing that Brock's car is having some engine troubles. Wheel Rock Racing is just in shambles over their performance on this track.
What? My engine? What is this?
What's wrong?
It might be overheating. I told William that I had an over-revving problem on the track.
Customize continues to fall off Paulie's pace each lap. It's been a game of tug-of-war between the two, as it seems every time Customize manages to set a fast lap, Paulie is able to put in an even faster one, and Customize hits the end of the guardrail there. That doesn't help the matter at all. Seems to have opened his door up, but potentially no other adverse driving effects. We'll have to see. Paulie is now right on Blazin's tail as they head through the traffic lights. Blazin moves aside to let Paulie through with ease, knowing that it really isn't worth fighting it when he could instead focus the energy on trying to catch up to Brock. That is now the second time that Blazin has been lapped by Paulie this race. Lap 62 has just begun. Customize on the way through the intersection, and he hits the curb again. That would have damaged his rear left door frame area even more now. It seems this corner has been the biggest trouble for the top two drivers of this race. Paulie coming across the line has set a new fastest lap, the first since the beginning of the race in lap 8. He's held all fastest lap records this race, and his dominance on his home tracks has really shown throughout the season, and as it stands, it is almost certain he'll be finishing this race with a 100% win rate on all West Coast tracks this season. Blazin coming through the intersection, going wide, a massive hit to the curb, and the traffic aren't here. His bumper is hanging on by a thread, his steering seems severely damaged as his dial, and as this is happening, Paulie just set a new fastest lap, but more importantly, Customize is coming around to Blazin as we speak, where Customize will out Blazin for the second time. Blazin trying to stay out the way. He successfully does so, and Customize gets by as Blazin here tries his best to get up to the pits. He's having to hold that steering wheel at a 180-degree angle just to try and go straight. And Brock has gone a little bit on the mountain there again for the fourth time, and Paulie laps him as he does so. Unboxing. Blazin has successfully made it to the pits. Paulie coming in around an absolutely rapid pace. It's going to be close, and Blazin doesn't do anything irrational and waits for Paulie to pass before continuing down the track, where Blazin has now been lapped for the third time. It is a simultaneous Wheel Rock disaster as Brock comes into the pits now.
I'm pitting.
So that damage built up enough to warrant a pit for Brock, and we see now Customize coming around. Will he lap Brock for the second time? But no, Brock absolutely sends it out back onto the track, just in front of Customize. If Brock didn't crash, he could have lapped Blazin and avoided any chance of being overtaken later down the line, but he made a critical mistake at the wrong time, and so Blazin has been lapped 3 times by Paulie, twice by Customize, and Brock has been lapped twice by Paulie, once by Customize, but potentially soon to be twice as well. It has been an incredibly long and hard day for Wheel Rock Racing driving on this track. This is a Wheel Rock disaster class, bro. And as we just saw, Customize making a minor mistake, having to go around the traffic guard once again.
I dropped back a bit at the lights. I went too deep and I had to take like the lights route.
I can't really blame him for the mistake, as he clearly isn't driving in the most comfortable position at the moment. Customize right behind Brock now. It is assumingly inevitable Brock will be lapped by Customize for the second time in. It seems on this occasion Brock is fighting it and not allowing him to pass easily as they fight down at traffic lights, with Customize very close looking for gaps. Brock on the curb a bit there as per usual for him in this area. I guess he's pushing the limits of the track. Customize flashing his lights at Brock to taunt him into a mistake. The psychology battle here is interesting.
Customize is coming up behind you, Brock. Be careful.
Yes, sir.
The fight continues. Customize presumably frustrated with Brock holding him back, so we can just bet he'll be going bold sometime soon. As you can see, he just has the faster pace through these areas. They're so close once again. Bumper to bumper as Brock goes to the outside. Customize sends it up the inside. It forces Brock wide, and he narrowly avoids hitting the guardrail as Customize has lapped Brock for the second time as they now head through the intersection. Just up here, Brock going wide. He's hit the curb, and oh my god, this is the highest up the mountain he's been so far. It's like he's trying to break his previous height records here.
No, we good.
Okay, no, back.
Despite what has just happened, look at how relaxed Brock is, feet up on the dashboard and everything. I've lost count of how many times he's been up that hill. I think at this rate, he's trying to tell us he wants to pursue a career in mountain climbing. His bumper is broken, windshield shattered, but he doesn't seem to be concerned with the potential damage at the moment. Just look at him having a rest there.
Rocky boxing.
No, I ain't no.
Here we get the replay of what is probably one of the most spectacular incidents of this race so far. So he follows Customizer's line, but turning in a bit earlier, comes in with higher speed and a wider line, and strikes the curb, just like Blazin did a few laps earlier. He can't control the car due to the bouncing, and before he knows it, he is up climbing that mountain once again, bouncing all over the place in his seat, and comes back down to the track at a very sharp angle, landing back in his seat, his feet now resting on the dashboard. It seems to take him a moment to process what just happened, and the car revs out a lot before Brock eventually gets it into gear and speeds back up to track pace. With the angle he came back down at the road there, it of course makes sense the bumper is now wedged under the front, especially from the prior curb strike damage, but I am absolutely shocked that it seems to have had very little effect on his steering. It's reminding me of Redwood. Brock is just getting so lucky and clawing his way out of what could be DNF incidents. Paulie continues to dominate this track, coming through the traffic lights now, and just like Customize before, he's hit the guardrail here and smashed his door open. Hopefully for him it'll be like Customize where he has no handling damage from it. In other news, Brock's car is sounding very strange. It's revving out almost all the time, and he's losing pace to Blaze in every lap, where he's starting to regain the lost time from the curb strike incident that happened earlier.
Have you have you lapped Brock? Oh no.
I have not passed Brock a single time. I don't even remember what's happened. It's only lapped me once, and that was the initial wheel thing. Well, that's just incorrect, so let me get this straight. Will Rock Racing somehow does not know where their cars are in this race. I'm sorry to say, but this team has been incredibly incompetent over the past 45 minutes. They think Brock is that Blazin when that has never happened so far. Blazin is catching Brock, but Blazin doesn't seem to know this is going to be a fight for position, a fight to continue his podium streak and get an extra point to aid in his championship fight, mainly against Customize, who speak of the devil, big slide of the traffic lights for him. But anyway, it's a real possibility knowing Blazin's driving style that thinking he's been lapped by Brock, he might not even try to fight Brock to get ahead, as he may not feel it's worth it this close to the end of the race. Brock's engine sounding even stranger than before, Paulie on his tail to potentially lap him for a third time, and Brock's hit the guardrail there a bit. It's like every time someone is behind him, something goes wrong. Definitely doesn't help his car with the current state that it's in. Even to the end, this race has a lot going on. Here comes Blaze, and he's tapped the guardrail. The Will Rock teammates just can't seem to keep it out of the barrier. Meanwhile, Customers will be boxing for the second time this race, making one soon for fuel purposes. Paulie fighting fiercely to lap Brock, and Brock just barely manages to hold it off, and with the situation holding back Paulie, Customize has been able to get out of the pits in good time. Brock attempting to defend from Paulie with everything he's got. Paulie with an incredible run through there. He looks to the outside. Will he do the same switch move like before? He sticks to the outside. Brock is the inside block. There's contact as Paulie passes through on the inside of the traffic lights. Customize just ahead, missing the intersection, I think, for the third time. Nearly up on the hill there as he kicks up dirt. Not the time to make such a mistake, with Paulie now having just passed and lapped Brock for the third time. Is it a possibility that even Customize would be lapped by Paulie with him not that far away? With Brock making mistakes, having engine problems, and having just fought Paulie, Blazin is catching up at rapid pace by either a second or half a second each lap, and there are just 10 minutes left for Blazin to make sure he retains his podium streak.
You are actually catching up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to be a lucky lad, I reckon.
If Brock even takes like a simple tap.
Well, he just did take a simple tap with a bit of a rough strike to the guardrail and traffic lights there. Brock really needs to hold it together to stay on the podium and for the first time finish a race intact. Big discussions currently going on at Will Rock Racing, thinking about whether Brock should box or not over his damage. After all, they just want him to get to the end of this race. It's only 10 minutes away.
I need to make a very hard decision right now.
Box or not to box? Is that the decision?
Yes.
I mean, are you a lap up from Blazin? Because if Blazin passed, yeah, so you'll still be P3.
Again, they're wrong on that. If Brock boxes, he will lose P3. In other news, we've just had Paulie cross the line and set a new fastest lap once again. Incredible work from him, and Will Rock has decided to pit Brock. Blazin is only 5 seconds behind and will likely overtake Brock for P3, but Will Rock doesn't know it. Brock's mirror falls off as he exits the pits. They clearly forgot to tighten that one up, and Blazin has passed Brock to reclaim third place with just 9 minutes remaining. Yeah, I've lapped myself. Greatest thing I've done this race.
I don't know if Brock's lapped you though.
He has, bro. What are we saying? The confusion runs rampant at Will Rock. The team isn't 100% sure if Blazin is actually in P3 or not, but Blazin himself is adamant that he is still in P4 since Brock lapped him. When as mentioned previously, that never happened. Blazin has no idea the gravity of what he's just pulled off.
And just like how the race started, Will Rock Racing is back together. the final few laps together.
Brock chasing, and Blazin goes super wide because of that. Brock has a lot more speed through. He is a 5 for P3 they don't even know about, and Blazin just moves aside and slows down to let Brock through. He has no clue that he has just given up 3rd place without a fight because he thinks he's in 4th. I don't want to be... No risks need to be taken right now. I'm actually speechless to say the least. This might be one of the strangest battles for a position I've ever seen because they don't even know they're fighting over a position. Brilliant for Brock to get on the podium, but terrible for Blazin, where his prized podium streak throughout the season is at risk, and he's going to lose a very precious point in his championship fight with Customize. The Will Rock teammates still unknowingly fighting over position. Blazin with a big lockup, getting super close to the rear of Brock there. To be honest, we've forgotten what lap they're on as well, so maybe it's not that surprising. Will Rock doesn't really know where their cars are at this rate. Anyway, Polly continues to chase Customize, getting closer each and every lap.
Bro, I'm so tired.
The exhaustion getting to the top drivers, but no matter, as Polly still sets new race lap records even with just 5 minutes left to go. It's going to be interesting to see if Customize fights Polly over lap status if he gets too close, and Polly missing the intersection once again. As mentioned previously, weirdly it's this corner that's been tripping the top drivers up the most. Hopefully that mistake will give Customize a bit of breathing room. This race is very soon going to be over. Will Rock Racing still stuck together here. Brock hits the guardrail and so does Blazin. They really are a perfect teammate pairing.
How's your clutch looking?
My what?
How's your clutch looking?
My clubs.
Clutch.
Clutch. Oh. Will Rock is still concerned about the condition of their cars even till the very end. Polly and Customize now fighting as Customize understandably wants to remain unlapped. He dips into the dirt a bit there as they head along highway straight. Polly backs off a bit through here, roughly around a minute to go, and this race is remaining busy.
So dehydrated, bro.
Spamming me, you stupid.
Tensions running high. BB Tech as Customize once the radio comms clear as he focuses on a very quick Polly chasing him down with just under a minute remaining. Polly go to the outside to try a signature inside move here, but Customize blocks it as he moves to the outside. Where will Polly go here? Outside, inside, it's outside as he comes around Customize on the highway straight, but Polly is blocked and he misses the intersection into the dirt a bit there as he goes wide at the last minute. Customize has saved himself from being lapped. Absolutely incredible from the both of them. We're about to begin will be our final lap of this very eventful race. The Will Rock teammates remain unseparated. They've somehow survived a race where their team and car suffered about every issue you can think of. It's extremely unlikely for any last minute overtakes here, so Brock will be heading home on his 3rd podium of the season. And finally, we can say Brock has finished a BIA race safe. It's out. Whoa, Blazin still needs to remember he needs to finish it. He may be 4th, but he doesn't want to be classified as a DNF. Anyway, Brock may have climbed mountains today, but the real mountain to climb was bringing it home here after half a season of struggles.
He survived the track!
GG's, boys.
Blazin has finished 4th, and without knowing it gave up 3rd place this race, and it'll be the end of his half a season running podium streak. We all wonder how he is going to react when he's told about what his real position was during the race after his passive driving style ultimately is what let him down. Not my greatest race in terms of performance, but it was crazy, it was fun. And of course, we cannot forget our magnificent top 2, Customize finishing 2nd after being a consistent racer, but despite a valiant effort in the end to remain unlapped, he ultimately was unable to keep up with the pace of Polly throughout the race, who after driving at blistering speeds and becoming the only one to set records this race, with a vehicular high five with Customize there, he has just won his 4th gold medal in this season after not letting go of that 1st place position a single time here in Tyrannos, and he has claimed a 100% win rate on all tracks of his home region, where we bring Tyrannos to a close with the top 2 having a drift together.
Oh, Jesus. Bro.
And just like that, a very hectic race on the shortest track of the calendar comes to a close. It's tied with Velasco for being one of the safest races so far with only a single DNF, but that isn't to say we were treated with a lot of entertainment of plenty of wild and unpredictable incidents throughout. The race ran for 103 laps, and due to the track just being a single kilometer, that also means 103 kilometers were driven, which makes it the 5th longest race in terms of distance so far, ahead of Redwood but below Utah. The race results are Jace in 5th place after unfortunately understeering into a guardrail just a few minutes into the race, which led to his DNF. This is the first time he's finished in 5th this season. In 4th is Blazin. This is the first time he's finished off the podium, and his streak comes to an end. Not a good start to the second half of the season for him, with how badly this race went for him. In 3rd is Brock. He was in a similar boat with finding the Will Rock car tough to drive in Tyrannos, but he pushed through to finish his first ever race in tag team on the podium, no less, where this is the first time he has finished ahead of Blazin while being his teammate, but the 2nd overall in the season. season, with the last time being at Redwood. Finishing in second was Customized, who led a very consistent race, but ultimately couldn't keep up with the pace of Paulie in first, with his 4th win of the season and achieving a 100% win rate on the tracks of his home region with devastatingly fast pace. Driver of the day is Customized. It was a close decision between him and Paulie, and for outside viewers, this decision may be a bit strange, but behind the scenes during the race, unbeknownst to the other drivers, he was dealing with immense personal issues due to news he had received just prior, and his willpower to race his best here, claiming second place despite the circumstances and difficulty, makes him a very worthy winner of the award this time around. Now, having received it 3 times, Customized is the highest amount of Driver of the Day award so far. As far as standings go, we now have a placements change. First of all, Paulie, of course, remains in the lead with 26 points, with quite a safe gap, but Customized, after half a season of fighting with Blazin, he has come ahead this time around in the standings, now 2 points ahead of Blazin, who now sits in 3rd. With Jace's 5th place DNF, Brock has also been able to get some points, closing up the gap a bit there as well. Join us next time for the 8th race of 12. For the first time in the season, we head international to Italy during sunrise for a 7 AM race at the Italian Grand Tour, nicknamed Big Italy by the drivers for an immense length of 15 kilometers with an elevation change of 36 meters, making it the longest track of the calendar. It's also known for having a very unique 2-kilometer pit lane. This track will be a massive endurance challenge. The roads are wide, fast, and smooth. However, the close proximity of guardrails combined with some very deceiving corners makes it a lot more dangerous than it may seem in some areas. From the shortest track to the longest, we'll see you overseas at Italy.